Hi everyone, this is Philip Martin. In this video we're going to take a look at 3 models of the Supreme Cutter from Lancelot Swords. As you can see on the rack behind me, it comes in 3 sizes: the compact, the classic, and the ultra. And in this video we're going to review and test each one. So let's start with the compact Supreme Cutter. The compact Supreme Cutter has a 30-inch blade and an 11-inch hilt. It weighs 3 pounds 2 ounces with a point of balance at about 2 1/4 inches, so pretty close to the hilt. The grip is covered in black cord, and the guard and pommel cap are stainless steel, and you may be able to see on the pommel cap a pretty large peen. You may have seen some of the Facebook posts from Lancelot Swords where they show that all these swords have very large, substantial tangs. The scabbard is wood core and is covered in artificial ray skin. And the locket and the chape are blackened stainless steel. I did some cutting with this sword earlier, so let's take a look at that video and see how well this compact Supreme Cutter cuts tatami. So as you can see from that cutting footage, the compact Supreme Cutter cuts tatami very easily. I found it to be a very quick sword and a lot of fun to cut with. So now let's take a look at the classic Supreme Cutter. The classic has a 35.5-inch blade and an 11.5-inch hilt. It weighs 3 pounds 10 ounces and has a point of balance at about 4 1/4 inches. Earlier this year, I held my annual cutting event, the Valley of the Sun cutting tournaments, and I brought this classic for people to cut with and give their feedback. So let's watch those videos and see what people had to say about the classic Supreme Cutter. Nice.
It is a Supreme Cutter. Yeah, it moves better than it feels like. It feels slow and heavy, but it moves pretty well. I didn't really have much at you changing directions, cutting one hand.
Now, one of the things his students told him was they thought that the forward curve of the two-handed grip might make it more susceptible to slight variations in edge alignment. I didn't find that. Do you find it? No.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I
Just excuses for poor form?
Yeah, I think, like Sean was mentioning, I think it would help you if anything.
Exactly, yeah. Very cool. Thanks.
Let's get these. All right.
So what do you think of it?
I would need to get used to it. I think I would like it. I think I would like it a little bit more if I got to play with it a bit. I'm not used to this type of balance. I'm not used to this type of hand.
Of grip, yeah.
Yeah, but I think there's a lot to commend it.
Cool.
Yeah. All right.
Nice.
Yeah, I think I would, if I were going to get one of this series, I would go for the compact.
Yeah,
I
the
feel
compact is like a 30-inch blade, it's more like a large
it's gonna-
katana. Yeah.
It's going to be more maneuverable for multi-cuts.
Sure. Yeah.
Especially for me. I
Yeah.
know that it would serve me better.
Right.
This obviously cuts very, very well. I have no doubt that it gets some really nice cuts that would just simply slice through and fall.
Right. Cool. Thank you. After the event, I also did some cutting with the Classic, including some cuts through some more challenging cloth-covered wood core tatami targets. So let's take a look at that video and see how well the Classic Supreme Cutter cuts through those more challenging targets. So as you can see in that cutting footage, the Classic cut very well for those more challenging targets. I found that the sword had plenty of authority through the cuts. So now let's take a look at the last of the three Supreme Cutters, the Ultra. The Ultra has a 39.5-inch blade and a 13-inch long hilt. It weighs 3 pounds 11 ounces and has a point of balance at 4 3/4 inches. So the Ultra has a very similar weight and balance to the Classic, but is much larger. As with the Classic, I cut some of the more challenging targets with the cloth-covered wood core tatami mats. So let's see how the Ultra performed against those more challenging cutting targets. As you can see in that cutting footage, the Ultra cut very well and handled very well. I found that it moves smoothly from cut to cut. After cutting with all three of these Supreme Cutters, I like all three, but I found that the Ultra handled best, I think, for the type of sword that it is. It's a large sword, so that's something to take into consideration if you have a use for an almost 40-inch blade. But for a large sword, it handled very well. If you are interested in these swords, check out Lancelot Swords website, where you'll find more details, and you'll find videos describing the use and the intended purpose for these swords. Thank you to Lancelot Swords for sending these three swords to me for review. I'll be sending these three on next to RJ at SoCal Swords to do some further testing. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it useful, and thank you very much for watching.